Okay, let's just dive right in. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to uncover the true biological science behind exactly why your hair stops growing, and, way more importantly, how you can actually fix it. Look, if you're totally tired of the guesswork and you just want to understand the genuine mechanics of what's happening inside your hair follicles, you're absolutely in the right place. Real quick, before we get to the fun clinical stuff, just a reminder that the info in this explainer is strictly for educational purposes. It's not medical advice. If you're dealing with serious, painful, or sudden hair loss, please go consult a dermatologist for a proper medical diagnosis. Okay, let's get into the science. So, we've all been there, right? You brush your hair in the morning, and there it is, a bunch of strands just clinging to the bristles. Or maybe you look in the mirror and notice your hairline is looking just a tiny bit further back than it did last year. Or your part seems kind of wide. It's incredibly frustrating. And what usually happens next? You hit the internet, you try the miracle shampoos, the weird exotic oils, maybe you even buy a handful of super expensive vitamins, and absolutely nothing works. Well, here's the undeniable truth. Most hair growth advice online is just pure guesswork. So today we're moving past all those myths. We're going to look at the exact biological mechanisms causing hair to stop growing and the specific clinical solutions backed by real research. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the hair cycle, then hit the four main culprits: genetics and DHT, nutrient deficiencies, stress shedding, and scalp health and damage. Finally, we'll map those causes to their proven clinical fixes.
All right, part one, the hair cycle.
I want you to picture your hair follicle not just as a little pore in your skin, but as a tiny, highly active biological factory. And just like any factory, it needs a very specific operational flow to pump out its product. Every single strand of hair goes through these three exact phases. First up is anagen. That's the active growth phase. The factory's running at full capacity, and honestly, this phase can last anywhere from 2 to 7 years. Next is catagen, which is just a super short transition phase where the follicle essentially powers down. And finally, we have telogen, the resting phase. During telogen, the hair simply hangs out in place until it falls out to make room for a brand new hair, which sends the follicle right back into that anagen growth phase. To put that into perspective, right now, on a healthy scalp, about 85 to 90% of your hair is actively in that anagen growth phase. Only about 10 to 15% is resting and shedding. And hey, that is totally normal. But when things go wrong, whether that's from stress, poor nutrition, hormones, or scalp issues, systemic disruptions can actually force a massive amount of your actively growing hairs prematurely right into that resting and shedding phase. And that is the exact moment you start noticing thinning. Moving on to part two, genetics and DHT. So this is the first and by far the most common culprit of hair loss, and it affects both men and a lot of women too. The specific biological mechanism happening here is called miniaturization. Here's exactly what's going down under your skin. Your body produces this enzyme called 5-alpha reductase. Its job is to convert testosterone into a hormone called DHT, or dihydrotestosterone. Now, if you have a genetic sensitivity to it, this DHT acts like a bully. It binds directly to receptors in the hair follicle, and over time, it slowly chokes and shrinks that follicle. As the factory gets smaller, it starts pumping out thinner, shorter, and weaker hairs, until eventually it just shuts down and stops producing hair altogether. But here's where the clinical research comes to the rescue with two proven fixes. First is finasteride. This is an oral medication that actually stops the damage at the source. It blocks that 5-alpha reductase enzyme so your body doesn't create the DHT in the first place. Clinical trials show it actually slows or even reverses pattern hair loss for the vast majority of users. On the flip side, we have topical minoxidil, which you might know as Rogaine. It's FDA approved, but works in a totally different way. It essentially cranks up the blood flow to the follicle factory and actively extends that anagen growth phase we talked about. Studies consistently show measurable regrowth within 4 to 6 months of using it consistently. Part 3, nutrient deficiencies. Did you know your hair follicles are actually some of the most metabolically active cells in your entire body? Seriously. So when your body is low on raw materials, it's pretty smart. It prioritizes your vital organs to keep you alive, and it totally shuts off the power to the hair factory. Hair is made almost entirely of a protein called keratin, and to make keratin, you need very specific nutrients. Markers like ferritin, which is your stored iron, along with vitamin D, zinc, and vitamin B12 are directly linked to hair shedding when they drop too low, especially for women. But here is a massive takeaway for you. Blind supplementation is a total waste of time. If you aren't actually deficient in those vitamins, swallowing more pills won't do a single thing. The clinically proven fix here is to get blood work to check these exact markers and only correct an actual verified deficiency. That's how you flip the switch and turn the factory back on.
Okay, part 4, stress shedding.
2 to 3 months. Have you ever been in the shower, noticed sudden, terrifying amount of hair coming out, and thought, what on earth did I do wrong this week? Well, this is a wildly common, yet deeply misunderstood cause of hair loss. The wild reality is that the damage actually happened 2 to 3 months ago. When your body goes through a major physiological shock, we're talking severe illness, a massive stressful event, or even a crash diet, it basically hits the panic button. It forces a huge number of follicles completely out of the growth phase and dumps them straight into the resting phase all at once. But since the resting phase lasts a few months before the hair finally falls out, you get this strange 2 to 3 month delay between the stressful event itself and the day you physically see the shedding. Now take a deep breath, because there's some really good news here. Unlike genetic pattern hair loss, which is progressive and needs medical intervention to stop, stress shedding is usually totally temporary. Studies show that once you resolve the underlying stressor or shock, your hair usually regrows completely on its own within 6 to 9 months. The clinical fix for this one is entirely lifestyle-based. You've got to prioritize sleep, manage those cortisol levels through exercise, and definitely avoid extreme calorie restriction. Section 5. Scalp health and damage. Think about it like a garden. You absolutely cannot grow a healthy plant in toxic soil, and you definitely can't grow healthy hair on a suffocated, inflamed scalp. When you get a buildup of heavy styling products, excess oil, and dandruff, it creates this highly inflamed environment that literally suffocates the follicle. On top of that, if you're constantly frying your hair with high heat tools or pulling it back into tight, tension-heavy hairstyles, you're causing what's known as traction alopecia. That's literally ripping the hair out at the root over time. But the fixes here are super simple and highly effective. Regular scalp exfoliation clears out the soil. Dialing back the heat and loosening your hairstyles gives the follicle a much-needed break. And this is fascinating. Studies actually show that microneedling the scalp stimulates collagen production and dramatically boosts the absorption of topical treatments like minoxidil. It acts like a massive clinical booster for your growth routine. Finally, part 6, proven fixes and next steps. All right, we've broken down the biology, so let's put it all together. If there's one single thing you take away from this, let it be this. There is no miracle shampoo out there. There are only clinical solutions mapped to specific biological causes. If your issue is genetics and DHT shrinking the follicle, the clinical fix is finasteride to block the enzyme and minoxidil to boost the blood flow. If it's a lack of raw materials, your fix is getting blood work and correcting verified nutrient deficiencies. If you've been through a physiological shock, the fix is cortisol management and just giving it time. And if it's physical damage, the fix is scalp exfoliation, reducing tension, and microneedling. Boom. That is the exact roadmap you need to take to your dermatologist, so you can stop guessing and start actually treating. So I've got to leave you with this question to think about. Take a hard look at your own lifestyle, your recent stressors, and your family history. Which of these 4 specific causes is actually shutting down your hair factory right now? Because once you identify the real cause, the clinical fix is quite literally already waiting for you. If this explainer empowered you with the science you need to finally take control of your hair health, make sure to subscribe so you never miss our science-backed breakdowns. Take action, go talk to your doctor, and we will see you in the next explainer.
When people think about dangerous health risks, they usually imagine smoking, drugs, or serious disease. But what if some of the biggest threats to your health are hidden in your daily routine? The truth is that most health problems don't appear overnight. They develop slowly through habits repeated day after day. Today we are looking at 5 everyday habits that could be quietly damaging your health. The first habit is not getting enough sleep. Many people stay up late for studies, social media, gaming, or entertainment. But sleep isn't wasted time. It's when your body repairs itself. While you sleep, your brain processes information, your muscles recover, and important hormones are regulated. When you regularly sleep too little, your concentration drops, your immune system weakens, and your stress level increases. Over time, poor sleep has been linked to serious health problems, including heart disease and obesity. If there's one habit worth protecting, it's your sleep. The second habit is sitting too much. Our bodies were designed to move, yet many of us spend most of the day sitting. Whether it's studying, working, gaming, or watching videos, long periods of inactivity can affect blood circulation, weaken muscles, and increase the risk of health problems. The third habit is living with constant stress. Stress is a normal part of life, but when it becomes constant, it starts affecting both the mind and the body. Chronic stress can interfere with sleep, digestion, energy level, and overall well-being. The problem is that many people become so used to stress that they don't realize how much it's affecting them. Your body reacts to ongoing stress whether you notice it or not. The fourth habit is eating too much processed food. These foods are often high in sugar, unhealthy fats, and salt while providing very little nutrition. Eating them occasionally isn't the issue. The problem starts when they become a daily habit. What you eat becomes the fuel for your body, and poor quality fuel eventually leads to poor performance. The fifth habit is avoiding physical activity. This is the final habit, and this is the most important one. So listen with all your ears on. Exercise isn't just about looking fit. It helps your heart, muscle, bone, brain, and overall health. Many people wait for motivation before getting active, but motivation comes and goes. Consistency is what matters. Even a short daily walk can make a difference when repeated over time. Most people won't damage their health through one bad decision. They will do it through small habits repeated every day. The good news is that the opposite is also true. Small positive habit repeated consistently can completely change your future health. So ask yourself, which of these habits do you need to work on first? Because the choices you make today are shaping the person you will become tomorrow. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more health content, and thanks for watching. Do subscribe.